Do you know what time it is? It is time for more show reviews! Yay! It's exciting! More show reviews! Yay! Yes, I have 7 more shows to review for you, my faithful listener. I hug you, and I thank you for listening to these show reviews, and I hope that you will enjoy them! And I hope that you will be even more excited for Drew Carey's Improv-A-Ganza when it premieres on April 11th. Hooray! Confetti raining down upon you. Excuse me. Basically, I'm going to keep the reviews in the same format I did the first 7. Not going to go into a whole lot of detail. If something happens to pop into my mind that stood out, then I'll mention it. But I unfortunately waited a few weeks after I saw them, so I've seen so many shows. I've seen like 60 shows that they all kind of blend together, and I don't remember a whole lot of details anymore about things. So if something pops out, I'll mention it, but mainly I'm just going to go with the same format. If you need reference on how a game was played, watch the first couple videos I made. There's a couple new games that were played that I will mention, and I'll mention how they're played as I go through them, and so forth. So yeah, let's get to it. So, this is the first show of the second set I went to, so I'm just going to call it show number 8, because I officially went to 14 shows in all, so I'm going to call this show number 8. This show was the early show on February 3rd, 2011. Goodness, it wasn't that long ago, and it feels like it was forever ago. Anyway, this show consisted of Sean Masterson, Jonathan Magnum, Greg Proops, Drew Carey, Kathy Kinney, and Ryan Stiles. The first game that was played was Freeze Tag, which of course includes all performers. The second game that was played was New Choice, and it was with Ryan and Sean, and Greg did the calling for it, and the setting was they were in a park. The third game was Song to an Audience Member, and believe it or not, I loved this. I do remember this. I absolutely love this because Jonathan and Greg did the singing for this game. Yes, Jonathan and Greg. Epic! Just saying, epic. I love it when people who usually don't sing very much sing. It delights me. And they did it in the style of a jazz ballad, which is awesome because if any of you know anything about Greg Proops, he digs jazz, so I think that the fact that they made him sing jazz was extra awesome. The fourth game they played was Options, and it had Drew and Kathy Kinney, and Jonathan did the calling for it. And the setting was medical billing. Yes, that I remember in that game, Drew came in and he had no hand, and he was complaining that they messed up the operation. They took off his hand or something like that. It was kind of ridiculous. It was fun, though. The fifth game was Question This, also known as Jeopardy, but isn't called Jeopardy anymore. And it had everyone but Greg in it. The sixth game was Bob's Call, and it had Drew and Ryan, and it was about collecting butterflies. And I remember that being a particularly fabulous Bob's Call. Ryan did exquisitely well in that game, if I do remember correctly. The seventh game was Moving People, and it was with Greg and Kathy. And they were in China, and they were collecting vegetables in China. Yes. And the 8th game was sound effects, and it had Greg and Sean, and it was a sausage festival. Oh, the innuendo. Just saying. The 9th game was sentences with Jonathan and Ryan, and it was a bachelorette party. Again, nothing more need be said. And then I'm pretty certain there was another game, but I have nothing else written on my notes. Sad face. Huh. Maybe they ended it early that night. Now I'm confused with my own notes. I'm looking through to see if I misplaced something, because it's quite possible. No? Either they only did 9 games and they ended on sentences, or... Oh, I know what it was. Ha 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 ha. I'm triumphant. Thank you, memory. You worked for once. No. Ha 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 ha. They played mousetraps. And if anyone knows what mousetraps are, you should be happy to hear this. I don't know about you guys, but mousetraps is one of my favorite games ever in the history of ever. Mousetraps is not really a proper improv game, but it doesn't matter because it's hilarious. And it was Sean and Drew, I believe, who played the game. Yeah. It was Sean and Drew. And I don't remember what the setting was. Oh, I think it was World War II. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I think it was World War II. And I think it was because they even at one point had to get on their hands and knees and crawl around on the ground through the mousetraps, like trying to get to the other side for safety. And of course, mousetraps were flying everywhere. And what mousetraps is they lay out 100 live mousetraps on the stage. And then the 2 performers are barefoot and blindfolded, and they cannot see. And so they have to do a scene while walking across live mousetraps. And of course, the mousetraps go off, and there's much pain that ensues. And their pain is our pleasure. And the other performers who are not actually in the scene will take the mousetraps and throw it at them and put it on their crotch and everything else, and it's even more delightful. And I love mousetraps. It just gets so many laughs. It's always funny. And I will say something about this show. I have this noted on my notes, and it's underlined, and it says best show ever. And maybe not ever, but it was definitely one of the best shows I've ever seen. And again, I've been to 60-something shows. So, in my opinion, when I say it was one of the best shows I've ever seen, personally, I'm just saying, damn good show. Forgive me for swearing, but it was a damn good show. It was terrific. It was excellent. It was 5 golden stars. The guys didn't agree with me. They didn't think it was one of the best shows ever, but I thought it was one of the best shows ever. And it made me laugh so much. I just remember walking away from that show feeling elated, and my stomach was hurting because I had laughed so hard and so long. It was just so much fun. And I know that a lot of scenes from that show are going to go into episodes, and those episodes are going to be great. They're going to be great. Yeah. And really, I believe that is the end of the 8th show review. Yeah. So, I guess tune in next time. What I'm going to do with these is that my subscriber numbers, I'm going with those for the cast promos. So for these, I'm just going to put up one of these every Wednesday. That's the plan, Stan. So I'll put up this one today, which is February 23rd. Yes. And then I'll put up the next one in a week, and so forth and so forth. And the last one should be up, I think, right before the show premieres. So once a week to kind of entice you and keep you going until the show actually premieres on the Game Show Network. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you in a week or less. We'll see. Ciao!